and the Nigerian, they have this dogged can-do spirit. They are resilient. They can go and do anything they want to do on their own by themselves.
Yes.
That's for the people,
Yes.
the ordinary Nigerian.
Yes.
But there must be something that will help safeguard that spirit and move for the ordinary Nigerian. Because if you look at this, you just told us that this relationship has been long time coming, and we also saw the Chinese president as well during the World Economic Summit for Africa here in the country.
Yes.
He also spoke about that relationship between China and Nigeria. How can this relationship help the people, knowing full well that amongst the people, the ordinary Chinese who will be here doing business and the ordinary Nigerian here doing business, there's also the fear of cutting corners, which a lot of people wouldn't want to see in business. Can the governments of both countries help those who are dealing with each other in terms of business here or over there with this relationship?
Well, let me first say this. I think, talking on the followership, what may be lacking in the Nigerian followership and the Nigerian businessmen is a lack of a nationalistic fervor, which the Chinese has. The average Chinese man and most citizens of most other countries put their country first. They feel very nationalistic. They have a sense of pride of their nation, and their decisions are, is influenced by that. I'm not saying we don't have such fervor here, but the Nigerian nationalistic tendencies are more on a private issue, not on the national front. If any other nation or someone is trying to cast aspersions to Nigerians, maybe in a group or something, a private event and things like that, Nigerians will rise up. But once it is at the government level, or what the things are needed to be done at that level, and it's not so close to them, it doesn't come to their pocket, we don't have that fervor. And that's, I think, makes the difference in how the Chinese go about doing their things.
Can it be remedied?
Yes, we have to do so. I think that there's a need for a lot of propaganda. The National Office of Orientation and all those agencies that are in charge of propaganda, of dissemination, of reorientating the people, I think they need to step up their game. There is a strong need, a lot of campaign to reorientate the people. We saw it in 1984, in the first coming of General Buhari. We need to see it again. At that time, people began to queue. People stopped throwing litter on the streets. We had a sense of doing things right. We need to see that again. Even the state of the economy. Really, you can't blame the present government. It's not the present government's fault that the price of oil fell through, went as low as it was. I personally am one of those who think it's a good thing for Nigeria.
What's a good thing?
The price of oil as it is now. Because they say that necessity is the mother of creation, innovation. I think this will force us to do things properly.
Do we have the structure to do things properly?
Well, those are all the things that we need to start putting in place. It's a holistic thing, reorientate the people, put the structure in place. There are some that might be very difficult to do, because if you ask me, for example, I would say the civil service is bloated.
You need a drastic reduction?
Absolutely, that's my own view.
Wouldn't that be increasing unemployment?
Well, that's why I said it's difficult. Those are the things. I would, if corruption, for example, you can't pay those guys the amount of money you are paying them. And really, I'm not making excuses for them. Not at all. Because again, no one forced them to take the jobs. It is voluntary. And if they think the pay is not good enough, they have the option to leave. They have stayed there. But we also need to be practical. I would advocate pay good salaries across board, but reduce the number of people doing it.
You know, if we talk about, sorry, Chamberlain, if we talk about reduction, I'm getting to look at another picture,
Yes.
looking at this relationship between the two countries, and which just might spur up a whole lot of things back home in the country, development. Now they're talking about the rail sector and so many other projects, and even the refineries, they're coming into the nation. Perhaps if that is a policy of easing off some of these people in the civil service and put on the table some kind of maybe an exchange, a voluntary exchange. If you opt out, you can come to this sector and see how you can fit in, even if it has to do with, on-site job. You think that is something that the government can also look into?
I think so. I totally agree with that. People should be encouraged to move out, but not just move them out without an option. Give them an option. All of these projects we expect will create jobs. Those in transport, those in Nigerian Railway Corporation, those in those kind of areas. Okay, let's look at the kind of services that those sectors would require from the private sector. And let's begin to train you, empower you, and enable you to provide those kind of services so that you move out, you go and provide those services, and you reduce the public sector, and you enhance yourself, and you're not out of work, you're probably even earning better, you're independent, you can do your work at your own pace, and those kind of things. I think there's a need for that kind of program. If you've worked in a certain place for such a long time, somewhere recently, someone retired at a very early age, at under 50. Why? He's been working for the civil service from about age 16.
Wow.
So he had accumulated a number of years, but he had not reached 60 or 65, so he had to leave.
So he didn't have to wait till he gets to that point.
He couldn't, because he had accumulated,
So
I don't know whether it's 25 or 30.
one came
that
first.
Yeah. And I'm not sure whether that person, there was a training program for him to ease. That's important. You can't just sack people, I agree. But we should begin to ease people into other things as they occur.
When you talked about patriotism,
Yes.
let me bring in the quotes. I hope I can remember it clearly by a Russian president, where
Yes.
he said nationalism has to do with hatred for others outside, but patriotism has to do with love for the country.
Yes.
If we're saying that the people need to be reorientated,
Yes.
the people here, are we talking about the leadership, those in politics, and those in the civil service? Are we talking about the Nigerian out there who is striving to make ends meet for himself, even as we seek these partnerships outside?
I would say it's everybody. And I would think it starts with the leaders. Take the budget, for example. Who is the suffering person here? It's the populace. It's not any member of the National Assembly. It's not any member of the executive. If you look at the budget, there are statutory transfers and allocations. The National Assembly will get its own. All the allowances are not stopping and all that. But those people who want to set up businesses, all the medium and small scale businesses, are suffering because you haven't seen a direction yet.